Out of the pistol formation, Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor's behind the ball in the left hash. High shotgun snap for Jones. Hands off to Taylor. Looking, he's in. Touchdown! Touchdown! I-N-D-Y for Jonathan Taylor. That's his 64th rushing touchdown, tied now with Edgerrin James for the most rushing scores in Colts franchise history. Under center, Daniel Jones, great give to Jonathan Taylor. He's well over 100 yards. He adds to his total there, and he gets out. He's at the 30, 35, 40. He's going sideline. He's got a chance. Look at Pierce. He's at the 20, 10, 5, touchdown! There's the record breaker for Jonathan Taylor, and it puts the Colts on top, 22-17. And that's an all-time record for an already all-time great. Jonathan Taylor now has the most rushing touchdowns in Colts history. Ball between the hash marks. I formation. Counter give to Taylor. Cuts at the 5. He's going to score. Touchdown! Walk-on! The Colts in Berlin with the walk-off touchdown by Jonathan Taylor with his third rushing touchdown today. And in overtime, the Colts send everybody in Berlin home happy. Final score, Colts 31, Falcons 25.
The Ride with JMV, 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Well, friends, you had one hell of a weekend, did you not? How good was your weekend? I do realize, but I think we're all at an understanding right now with the Pacers that if you're down 9 dudes like that, even if the Warriors are without Steph Curry, you're probably blanked. That's just the way that it's going to be. And man, I'm hoping it's not going to be that way. I want to just, don't you just want to, you hope? Maybe you don't right now. Maybe you want to see them for the first time get a number 1 overall selection. Anyway, we'll get back to that. Pacer fans, weekend, Denver, Golden State, back-to-back. That's not working, but man. Omar Cooper Jr., friend of the show on Saturday, with the catch of the season. I know I'm biased. I'm incredibly biased because this is where we are. And let's just face it, what we do, and with this show, it is always stratospherically better when the local teams are good. I mean, this whole thing about, hey, you just want the negativity because it helps your ratings. Yeah, but listen, even the numbnuts that just want to piss and moan about everything at some point go away. At some point, you just kind of raise your hands and you go, hey, what else do we have to gripe about? Don't you? I just can't crack it open in the morning and go, hey, I got to find a reason to be pissed. That's just not me. Now, I'll tell you if things don't go well, and we'll also, as a part of the equation with the 8-2 Colts, talk about why this bye week comes, I think, at the absolute perfect time, and it is time for them to get the microscope out and look inside some of these organisms here and figure out how you can get back on offensive common ground where things, the results, the positivity was at a much more consistently high level. Yeah, all that we'll get into in a second. So the negativity doesn't stir it. It may for a day or two, but I've been around this market for 25 plus years, doing my own show for 20 plus years, which I think the anniversary was last week. 21 years, I think, doing my own show. And the one thing that I understand is everybody around here is more excited, happy, willing to participate, more outgoing, and everything is better when you win. In fact, when Tucker DeVries joins us coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, that is a simple solution to everything. It just is. When you win. Now, I want to double back to Saturday for a moment. Omar Cooper Jr., that is one of the greatest catches that I've ever seen. I've never seen this because obviously this film was written, produced, and made after 1985, and I haven't seen a lot after then, right? Yeah, I think you guys all understand that. But that was very Matrix of him right here. That defies many of the laws of gravity, and I have no idea what the laws of gravity are. I just said that because I've heard somebody say it before me. And I'm trying to sound smart. And believe me, I need all the help I can get trying to sound smart. However, when you got all of that working and you're able to get a toe down in that moment, the most incredible catch. Listen, there are a lot of other great catches out there. I mean, Charlie Becker had one like a couple of plays prior that we will be talking about today and forever, and maybe still should, but it just wasn't that one. If you remember back, we had Omar Cooper Jr. on the show, and we were talking about his athleticism, and, you know, we were kind of joking around about he and I playing one-on-one because I'm just kind of that old jackass like that. And you know, we were talking about his athleticism and being a basketball player and all that. That so much, to me, was all rolled into one. Obviously, the athleticism, because my man could have touched the crossbar because he was high up. You talk about a vertical. I only dream, of all time to have a vertical like that. But how about having a vertical like that when you have all that gear on your body? I mean, hell, the helmet weighs about 25 stinking pounds. How about having a vertical of that? But it is, given the moment and the circumstances, the impact on where IU football is, where they were, certainly where they are presently and where they want to go, there's no bigger catch. You know, IU history, Keith Smart wins the national championship with that shot in 1987. There's no doubt about that. You know, everybody wants to go back to the Christian Watford shot against Kentucky. I'm sorry, that is the national championship is one thing. But that was on Saturday in a moment with a program that has had that history until last year. And you know about the history and what they're trying to accomplish this season with this group. And believe me, everybody except folks around here want to write them off. Everybody. That's really a nice spot to be in, though. I saw a lot of people that I know that are IU fans that are firing back against Ohio State fans or Penn State fans and talking about how IU's a pretender and not any good. And, you know, if you have time to do it, and you want to get fired up and do it, go ahead and do it. It's your choice. But I still tell you that IU football is in a great place because even with the success of a year ago, the success with this season, what they have shown, they have a signature win on the road, one of the toughest road environments in college football in Eugene, Oregon. But I still tell you, it is much better each and every week for everybody to either root against them or say that they're not legit. It's just a part of the underdog fuel that I think really you always need. And certainly, you know, IU, in all that they have done now in the past year and a half plus, they still have that particular non-football result positivity history. So I don't mind it. And I don't think IU fans should mind it at all. I mean, who cares? We like to make fun of it because he looks like Mr. Peanut if he had a monocle and a top hat. So the Paul Feinbaums of the world, everybody pissing and moaning, anybody that's ever been the anointed fan base of Ohio State football, and we did this, and there's not much difference between that and the SEC. Let's face it, all these old grandfathered-in programs. IU football is a party crasher. That's exactly how you want them to be, the party crasher. Shout out to them for that survival. There was always, over the course of an incredibly special season, you need no further look than see the Indiana Pacers of a year ago. So look at the Indiana Pacers, and they had multi-signature moments. You know, these moments where you kind of rescue your own ass from what is sure to be a disastrous result. Yeah, and IU, Fernando Mendoza, who had not a great game at all going, and all of a sudden he gets sacked on that first play and that final drive, and then all of a sudden, I mean, he translates into why he should be getting that recognition right now at the top of the Heisman Trophy candidate list. That's what those guys do. That's what teams like that do. That's what teams do to legitimize. And IU did that on Saturday. Now, with the Colts, we can make the comparison at quarterback. Daniel Jones had another quiet, not at all like what we saw in the first, how should we put this, month and a half of the season. And there are reasons behind this, and I'll share with you those reasons right now. And a lot of people immediately want to go back to, well, you know what? He looks like the first 6 seasons for the most part when he was under center for the New York Giants. I don't think he has looked that bad. However, he is a guy that has to have the operation. You know, like when Shane Steichen said in the offseason, the reason why he liked Daniel Jones as much as he did is because Daniel Jones was going to make the right decisions, put people in positions to succeed. He was going to run the program. Now, he can run the program, but you also have to have the rest of the program on board with what he's trying to run. He can't all of a sudden step out of his own uniform, which sounds really weird, but he can't all of a sudden do that and become Superman. Jonathan Taylor can. That's why Jonathan Taylor's the MVP. And there's nothing wrong with this debate. And there's certainly nothing wrong with trying to find out what has gone haywire, especially in the last 2 weeks, and now give yourself a little bit of time to figure it out during the bye week. And they have to. They have to figure out with whatever was exposed over a week ago in Pittsburgh that Atlanta kind of took in Berlin yesterday, the baton, and ran with it on their own. It is consistent pressure. Either having the talent, as Pittsburgh does on either side with Highsmith and Watt, to do it on their own, to edge pressure consistently, as Rick Venturi would tell us right here, first wave pressure consistently on their own, or if you're going to be like what we saw yesterday in Berlin with the Falcons, if you're going to bring absolutely everybody because your belief is you're going to rattle the quarterback, and you know what they did? They rattled the quarterback, just like Pittsburgh rattled the quarterback last week. Most quarterbacks, unless you are exceptional, elite, will get rattled under circumstances like that. I'm not trying to excuse him not holding on to the football, because certainly if you know that is coming, you got to be better prepared to withstand the brunt of that pressure getting home. And we all see this. You don't have to be Vince Lombardi to see that this offensive line isn't working well right now either. Now, it's working well enough to spring Jonathan Taylor a couple of different times. But what I'm trying to tell you is this offense of the Colts is elite. But much like Brad Stevens said years ago, you have to have a successful basketball program collegiately, everybody pushing in the same direction. We haven't seen in the last 2 weeks everybody pushing offensively in the same direction. Now, there is a leak right now in this operation. The seal has a leak that has to be fixed. And I think a lot of that does have to do with hustling up a decision, quicker reactions, quicker responses with your quarterback. I mean, adjusting pass patterns, rediscovering that you have a guy that has number 11 out there that's actually playing. I don't know where my man has been in the last 2 weeks. But, you know, clearly that is something that is necessary. What I'm saying is this team is an elite level offense, but it is the sum of all parts. And you got to have everybody firing away. And Pittsburgh started a 2-week trend now of taking things away offensively. And it's kind of like that thing when you have your remote and you got a 2-battery AA cell remote, right? And one of the AA's is kind of out of place a little bit. Then all of a sudden the entire remote operation isn't going to work for you. That's what teams have done, the Falcons and the Steelers, the last 2 weeks, defensively getting after the quarterback. Exposing the Colts for taking a little bit too long, not giving them that time in the process, laying claim to the line of scrimmage and getting after the quarterback. Now, he's taking some hits. And, yeah, he probably is holding on to the ball too long, but I think offensively you have to adjust to the fact that you understand you got to make it a little bit easier for him to drop and throw and not have to withstand it, especially if your offensive line plays like that and your quarterback's turning it over, which they have. They were incredibly fortunate to survive that yesterday. Nothing would have been more brutal than to fly ass all the way over there and then to lose to a team like the Falcons right now that sometimes they're on, sometimes they're off. And defensively, they were on a couple of different times yesterday. But nothing would have been worse to fly all the way over there, lose, and then fly all the way back and then get this weather as you're on the inbound here. That would really suck. And then have a week to soak in this. At least now, it's what I said a little bit earlier in the year, if you remember. You have the opportunity, even with the win, to really put this whole situation under a microscope and figure it out. And I think what we always have to remember is they are 8-2. You've got teams trying to run them down. And some of these teams, it's not going any better for right now. If you watched the South Florida Active Buffalo yesterday, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And Buffalo, Baltimore's having to dig out of a substantial hole. Kansas City still has a lot of work to do. Kansas City, and obviously the Colts are going to see them coming up after the bye week, but the Chiefs not only have to play a little bit of catch-up, but you also have to play catch-up in arguably or not, and probably not even an argument here, the most competitive division in the NFL. And again, a much tougher schedule. Colts' schedule gets tougher, but everybody else's schedule that is so-called high level in the AFC remains tough and they've also been tough. What I'm saying is this is wide-ass open for the Colts to take right here. But you do have some things to figure out here in the bye week. You can even further implement Sauce Gardner, who at times I thought yesterday looked a little bit out of place. When you could tell, and I don't know if this is just me or not, I thought when he was going instinctually that he looked comfortable. But you could tell at times he's like, hey, I got to think about this. Not like that. Not like me. Well, I got to think about this for a moment. Let me ponder. Oh, yeah, there's my reaction. But the whole if you snooze, you lose mentality is even more magnified playing that position, and especially now when you're in the spotlight of this team gave away 2 first-rounders and a wide receiver for you, and you're expected to go in there and, end up being Darrell Green. And I think everybody felt like he wasn't going to be Darrell Green, but we did watch him yesterday. I thought yesterday, instinctually speaking, he was sound, but when he was trying to figure out where he should be on the chessboard, at times you kind of wonder what the hell was going on. And then you kind of go, well, is this whole Lou Anarumo stuff or is this Sauce Gardner? I guess, again, the light at the end of that tunnel is you're going to get Charvarius Ward back and hopefully stay healthy, and you're going to get some legitimate time with guys that we would feel collectively, once you do get that time together, can be difference makers. There was no reason yesterday in how Sauce Gardner played for me to believe that you still shouldn't have made that. Like, I know everybody out there wanted to see him get that pick 6, and you would like to see him stay on his feet instead of dive and all that, and that probably was instinctual too. But when he wasn't thinking, I thought he was the Sauce Gardner that you would expect when he was thinking a little bit. And that's not a detriment to what I believe he's not. It's being new and fresh to the whole thing. I mean, he was essentially trying to learn 8 weeks of calculus in like 48 plus hours. And I felt, especially when you got to go overseas, you pull this off and then you go overseas. I mean, I'm assuming he's probably on the plane under a light with his defensive coordinator going over things. That's how I felt he looked. A lot of people are going to say, well, I didn't think he was a difference maker. I thought he sucked. And I got over and over again how much he sucked. I thought his instincts were still there. I just thought when he was trying to figure out where he was supposed to be, I can't imagine that defensively things are drawn up so Drake London gets Jermaine Pratt to try to cover him single-handedly. It just seems like that there were some things that were not quite of the function. And that will take a minute. That's not an excuse. I just didn't think he was awful. Like, I will say this about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones turned it over the last 2 weeks. Has not been certainly like we saw him at the beginning, but that third down scramble, that won the Colts the game. He still, as a quarterback, who everybody wants to describe him as being the first 6 seasons with the Giants, he made a play that, to me, was the difference in the game. And that scramble to make the fourth down play, I don't want to say easier, but a little bit more within reach. And then you go to somebody that you absolutely positively trust, and that's Tyler Warren. Anytime you need an absolute, like on a fourth down like that, fourth in the game, I think you throw it anywhere within a catch radius or a zip code of Tyler Warren, and I feel comfortable he's going to go get it. And you got that yesterday. Yeah, your quarterback that certainly was not as good as we have seen him, he did make the play, to me, of the game. And luckily, Badgley came back from missing an extra point and being short on a 53-yarder. Those are two things you can't do. You have to be pretty much automatic from 53, but the one thing you absolutely can't be in this era of the NFL is short from 53. Like, I'm going to be short from 53. You're going to be short from 53. A professional kicker can't be short unless it gets blocked from 53. Yeah, and basically you've got to be automatic. That's just the way that it is. But there was redemption yesterday, which was a good thing. All right, we'll talk about that at 239-1070. I got a lot for you, too. You guys go ahead and jump on board. Bob Kravitz, as I mentioned, is going to join us coming up a little bit later on. What is he, back to Substack now? I think he left. Well, I don't even know what the hell that other thing was. But we'll go over a lot of things with Bob coming up here in the 5 o'clock hour. Yeah, IU 177 was the final at the UC in Chicago yesterday over Marquette. Tucker DeVries, the sharpshooter, is going to join us coming up here in the 4 o'clock hour a little bit later on today. I have news. You guys have all asked about the Upstairs Pub coming up on Thursday, Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Yeah, you guys say, hey, is your mom, because you don't live too far, or she doesn't live too far from Bloomington, is your mom going to make an appearance? And since you guys asked, I asked her this morning, and she said, quote, does it have an elevator? Because I don't know if I can, because it says upstairs. I don't know if I can walk upstairs. Does it have an elevator? And this is the best part. She loves Evan Williams eggnog. And will you have Evan Williams eggnog? Now, I know Brent Holverson will take care of the eggnog part of it. I just don't know if they have an elevator. But Gritty was kind enough to suggest maybe a scissor lift. So, yeah, maybe we can scissor lift her right out off of Kirkwood in front up on a scissor lift. Actually, I'm kind of caught. There's part of me that goes, I don't know if I want this, which is very true. The other part of me goes, I think it'd be really funny to get her wound up and let her loose in that place. That'd be funny. So, yeah, you guys have asked, thus I have asked, and we'll see if we have an answer as we get closer to the date. And obviously, it's going to be much better weather than it is either yesterday or today as we approach the end of the week. That's largely the Bourbon Locks, Luna Zul Tequila Shots. Yes, we're going to be live at the Upstairs Pub in Bloomington coming up on Thursday afternoon for week number 11, a bye week for the Colts. But Brent and I will be there. So if anybody's ever had the opportunity to join us, and maybe you're from in and around Monroe County, around Bloomington, this is going to be it for you coming up on Thursday. Cannot wait to see you. All right, the text line is open at 317-239-1070. You guys go ahead and jump in here. We would love to have you. I also want your thoughts, some of the things I said about this Colts team. A look inside yourselves going into the bye week. It is always good when you win a game that you easily could have lost, and then you can evaluate the last 2 weeks for what it is. And you've got to step up in some categories here to be this 8-2 in the future type of a legit. Hey, this is too much of an opportunity. You've positioned yourself in too great right now of a spot to jack around and mess this up. So, bye week, far be it from me to say bye week. Well, it's a bye week and I'm working. So, yeah, bye week, get to work. Because we have seen exactly what is necessary. We'll go over more of that with you at 239-1070 coming up on the other side. The stream, the app, HD Radio, the AAA membership lounge via YouTube Live. Where's my man Godbout going? What? The Sabres? Become a AAA member today because mornings like this morning, that's going to save your rear end right there. You know exactly what I'm talking about. AAA.com to become a AAA member. Do that today. Your calls on the other side. Tucker DeVries, top of the hour. Bob Kravitz, 5 o'clock hour. Stuff to give away and a busy week for you. We'll get back to everything else. By the way, Purdue ranks second in the nation in college basketball to enter this week. That and more coming up for you. The stream, the app, HD Radio, AAA membership lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
JMV.
And the beat goes on, yeah. And the beat goes on.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Three receivers stacked to the left side. Now they're going to split out wide left. Jones backs the throw, throws left, and it is caught. Tyler Warren! What a catch! And he's still going, and he dances out of bounds at the 30-yard line for a gain of 10. Tyler Warren, a hellacious catch. Contested grab, and it produces a first down for the Colts.
Did he say a hellacious grab? Shout out to Matt Taylor for the hellacious grab call right there. 31-25 was the final. Tyler Warren, 8 for 99. I mentioned Michael Pittman Jr. was MIA, 2 for 19 yesterday. Got to find more of that. You got to find more. As I mentioned, too, like everybody's got to get more involved here. You love it when you watch exactly the work Jonathan Taylor did. 32, 244, 3 touchdowns. That's why he's the MVP. And nothing against what Daniel Jones has done, but certainly more the focus should be where he's been the last 2 weeks. And you got to work on protection. You got to work on routes. You can't expose him because obviously now in the last 2 weeks with Pittsburgh, they had dudes that could just do it on their own. But the Falcons invented and brought pressure in the house often, and they, as well as the Steelers, rattled the quarterback. You got to think of some ways to take that out of the equation. Because let's face it, this offense has not been as cohesive. It's elite level when it is as good as it has been prior to the past 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm going to give Sauce Gardner more than 2.5 days. I'm sorry. That makes me a bad host. Then you can smooch it. I don't care. But I'm going to give him more than 2 days. They're probably, unless they go and win a Super Bowl, there are going to be very few ways where anybody's ever going to look back at this and go, well, you know what? That was, winner of the Colts, or, that was an even deal because there was a lot given up. But I'm not going to make the call on this dude when he got here late Tuesday evening. Does he have to be better? Yes, he has to be better. He has to be one of the guys. It just is the way that it is. He has to be one of the guys that stands out, that is a playmaker. Now, if he would have picked off, which he got there and didn't, if he would have picked that ball off, would that made it better? Or did the 2-point conversion when he fell down, is that all too glaring? Surely to God, you're going to give him more than like 2 days, aren't you? 2 days? Hey, maybe one of these days I have to eat all these words again. I don't care. But more than 2 days? Maybe not. I would suggest that you go in the direction in which you want to go. But I am going to give him more than 2 days. I can't lie. I do want to see him with Ward and everybody back there. And I also felt yesterday when he was going off of instinct, I thought, okay, well, he looks all right. But when he was trying to figure out what the hell he was doing, like ring around the rosy a couple of different times. There's no doubt about that. And there are plenty of reasons why you can go, well, that's not working. There's no way that's going to be even. But, hell, you could have said that when the deal was made. And really the only thing that's ever going to squash that conversation is if he's a part of a championship-level team. That is really the only true story out of all that. 317-239-1070 is the number. JMV, a longtime listener, Bay Area, California. Thanks for all you do each and every day. Lifelong diehard IU football fan. What a time to be alive. Omar Cooper Jr. Holy crap. Charlie Becker. I'm going to get Charlie Becker on the show sometime. Nashville, Tennessee. High school football product. No Surratt. Charlie Becker was catching absolutely everything. It's funny about Omar Cooper Jr. He actually had a touchdown, what was a potential touchdown pass kind of glance off his hands. And nothing glancing off at anything in that game winner. That was just absolutely incredible. Those are the moments when you have a truly special season, oftentimes, that occur. I thought it was exceptionally cool as hell. Yeah, a lot of people said, hey, Daniel Jones, if Anthony Richardson would have done that, please tell me we're not going to go here, because I don't have the time nor the inclination to say, well, this is what we would have said about Anthony Richardson. Well, they would have lost that game by like 3 touchdowns. Seriously. There's nothing against the dude, but we know who that dude is. We've seen what Daniel Jones has done. And now you've had 2 teams in the last 2 weeks do something different. Now he's got to adjust. They have to adjust. And I think we would say the same thing about the offensive line. But all of what we witnessed regarding Richardson in his trial by fire and the trial and error here was more error than anything. It was only a couple of times I got that over the weekend, but wow, okay. This is the time when you have a guy that gets the accolades in the first month and a half of the season, as Jones had, as Shane Steichen has. And when you're supposed to be an offensive wonderkind, these are the adjustments that you make when teams adjust and it's become favorable for them. And the results aren't the same for you. And yet another reason why Jonathan Taylor, simply put, is the MVP. We all knew that going in, and that is certainly the rule right now. 239-1070. We're going to start with Mike in Brooklyn, as we normally do on a Monday, with his Colts reaction. Hello, Mike.
Hello, JMV. How you doing?
Mike, what are we thinking here?
Yeah, I'm thinking, do we have to, as Colts fans, just accept the fact that, we have to be bipolar? It's like you have an offensive performance like you had yesterday, and you still feel so bad about it. I mean, is it just me?
I think that's an error of unbelievability to many. That people just say that, at some point, the carriage is going to turn into a pumpkin, or, Cinderella is going to go back to, it's kind of that story to me. It's just, I think the level of non-believing, and I will say this, Mike, I mean, there's certainly evidence there with some of the teams on the schedule, but they've also beaten some good teams, and they gave away a game to a really good team on the road. But, yeah, I'm not ready to write everybody off. I'm ready for, what people talked about as a coach of the year and maybe an MVP or an offensive player of the year and a reclamation project at quarterback. I'm ready for these guys and an offensive line that got a lot of accolades, too, early on this season to figure some things out, protect, and then get back into the flow of things offensively. Because this offense, Mike, it is at its finest, at its best, when everybody is going in that direction. And we have seen when it splinters, things have the potential of getting bad, and they have.
Yeah. I mean, they gutted out. I mean, a lot of individual, good individual performances. They gutted out a win. And what we were talking about last week, Raheem Morris is a Mike Tomlin protege, and he took the same exact game plan and even turned it up a notch, as you said, and they had no adjustments to it at all. That throw to run, throw to score, run to win, that's got to go. I mean, that just has to go. I mean, if you just look at it, just with common sense, if that's what you're doing and they could see it on tape, these guys are just throwing. At the beginning of the game, they're just going to play. They're going to play the pass.
So, are you suggesting that they maybe go away from Taylor a little bit too often early and don't utilize what he can do early to maybe put a little bit more of an imprint on the game? Yeah,
absolutely.
And I don't mind that either. I think that's all about. I'd mention more of the adjustment being you just can't have these guys running 40 yards down the field and expect the offensive line to hold up right now with him. And the other thing is he needs to realize that things are breaking down earlier than usual, and I got to protect this football, and he's not doing that at all.
That too. All of the above. All of the above. I would like to just see them come out and just like use it to your advantage and just come out and just like run Jonathan Taylor down their throats like Bill Parcells used to do. They used to run the ball like 20, 30 times in a row. Even if it's not working, that's an exaggeration. But yeah, yesterday, I kind of felt like it was just an extension of the Steeler game. They started the game where they left off. They were in like desperation mode. They went down the field. Then naturally Steichen, in my opinion, breaks the cardinal rule. You're going for it on fourth down. In coaching, you always put the points on the board. For me, if the game is tied, or if you're up by one score and you can make it a 2-score game, or you can make it a 2-score game into a 3-score game, you kick the field goal. Okay, especially the first points of the game. I think the whole game's complexion in that game would have been different if they would have just kicked that little chip shot field goal and kicked the ball off, and Bynum made that great play, and you would have went up 10-0 or 9-0 because you mixed the extra point. And the whole complexion of the game. It's like you're starting the game off in desperation mode. You always feel like you're behind with Steichen. He's just got to calm down and let the game come to you, Just let the game play itself out. You don't have to always be in desperation mode. And that's the way it seems like it is with him when he's calling the games.
I think this is going to be his biggest challenge so far, and that is going to be to try to get this offense clicking back, anywhere near the level. I wouldn't expect it to be as great as it was certainly for the first month plus of the season, but he's got to get this thing back on track because things, honestly, with this offense and the way that is running, especially with the offensive line and the quarterback and all these turnovers, that's gone haywire pretty damn quick here in the past 2 weeks. And you could tell, Mike, that Atlanta just kind of took a cue from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh could do it individually with talent. Atlanta had to bring everybody, but these similarities, I felt were there the last 2 weeks about how you derail an offense that was pretty much on track the entirety of the time leading in.
Yeah, absolutely. And the defenses that we're going to be playing down the stretch here are well capable of doing the same things because they all have multiple edge rushes. And they're in the
hey, Mike, they're 8-2 in the AFC, and I get a run here, but they're also in the crosshairs of everybody right now too. Hey, call back later on this week, buddy. I do have to hit a break right here.
Okay, JMV, thank you. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, they're in they got a bullseye now. It's different when you're targeted as opposed to, well, there's the Colts, and hey, look what they did. Wow, okay, now you're the target. Quick break, we'll come back. Tucker DeVries, speaking of target, was on target, especially in the first half yesterday in Chicago versus Marquette. 100-77 was the final. The IU sharpshooter joins us coming up at the top of the hour. Bob Kravitz will join us about the Berlin game and a lot more coming up a little bit later on. Busy week, 2 road shows, 2 absolute must-attends. Can't wait to see you, and a lot more to talk about. Stay right there. The text line is open at 317-239-1070, and I'll talk with you as well, 239-1070 with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Stupid is no way to go through life, son.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Two more chances here. 41 seconds to go. EJ and Omar both far side. Becker near side. Mendoza in the backfield. Back to throw. Pressure comes again. Throws it to the end zone. And the catch is made. Is it a touchdown? Touchdown! Unbelievable! Omar Cooper with a grab. And he put his foot down. It's a score for Indiana.
Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, whom I'm trying to get to join us at the Upstairs Pub coming up on Thursday, too. The bat signal is out to Don. I know Don's got the coaches show with Kurt Signetti Thursdays. I think that's at Hoosier Hanks a little bit later on in the evening. We're trying to get Don down there off of Kirkwood at the Upstairs Pub with us for a Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots Thursday. And I would love to see all of you down there as well. I think it would be outstanding work if you guys all could join us down there. Again, that's coming up on Thursday. I think Thursday, Upstairs Pub, Bloomington, and Friday, Bud Light Blue Friday with Colts tickets. We're at the back 9. That is coming up on Friday, I should say. Yeah, Thursday and Friday is when we are on the road. But I'd love to see you guys, too. Yeah, incredible. Thanks for thinking about my mom. I don't know. It sounds fun on the surface. Know how it turns out. So Shane Steichen talk about this a little bit earlier. We brought up the offensive situation / operation not being certainly, especially in the passing game, the protection game, holding on to the football, which has been problematic. Shane Steichen says, quote, he does not have a huge level of concern about the offensive line. 12 sacks given up over the last 2 weeks, 9 during the first 8 weeks. And giving up the football. See, I know you're not going to say, hey, I'm freaking out over this because this has been crap water the last 2 weeks. But there is urgency here to make sure you fix this up. And that's what, if you're going to give accolades for somebody being possibly coach of the year, just beyond being 8-2 and a surprise around the NFL landscape, that type of person makes adjustments offensively, especially when they're an offensive guru, to what they have witnessed the last 2 weeks. Especially if it's incredibly easy for all of us to see, and it's been incredibly easy for all of us to see. Right? You don't have to be a member of the Kiffin family to see what the hell's happening here. Now, we'll see how they worked out in the offseason. So, yeah, I think that it's a major concern. It may not be publicly stated by the head coach, but that is, don't get me wrong, that's a major concern. Win Schuler's spreadability, that's a major concern, too. You got to be able to find that your favorite grocer's refrigerator. From original sharp cheddar, bacon and cheddar, jalapeno pepper, that is a crowd pleaser right there, too. An elite level snacking with Win Schuler's spreadability. Favorite Meijer location, Gordon's Food Service, they still have it, too. And Neiman's Harvest Market, the spreadability of Win Schuler's cheeses on a night like tonight. Why not? Quick break. We'll come back. Your calls on the other side. Bob Kravitz, a little over an hour away. IU with a win on the road in Chicago over Marquette yesterday. The first half hot shooter was Tucker DeVries, the coach's son. Tucker DeVries is scheduled to join us coming up next. The stream, the app, HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. You got us also on the text line at 317-239-1070 if you so desire. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Point of my day. It's all downhill from here.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Out of the pistol formation, Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor's behind the ball in the left hash. High shotgun snap for Jones. Hands off to Taylor. Looking, he's in. Touchdown! Touchdown! I-N-D-Y for Jonathan Taylor. That's his 64th rushing touchdown, tied now with Edgerrin James for the most rushing scores in Colts franchise history. And the Colts take an early lead over the Falcons 6-0.
Matt Taylor, Colts Radio Network right there. He is the MVP. Does anybody want to discuss that? He's the MVP. He's the MVP of the team. He's the MVP of the league right now. They're 8-2. He is the most essential reason as to why they're 8-2. He saved their collective asses yesterday. I will say that Daniel Jones, that third down run, that scramble and run to make fourth down reasonable was arguably the biggest play of the game. But the MVP is Taylor. The MVP of the NFL is Taylor. That would be the first time since 2012 with a running back. And I know that it always goes with the quarterback. We see it around here better than anybody else. Yesterday, not only did it solidify it yesterday, but it's not like you just did it with, well, he went 110 yards and a touchdown. 244. He averaged 7.5 plus yards a carry in a game in which, for his team, was in peril. And with an offensive line that's not being able to protect the quarterback and a quarterback not being able to protect the ball, he swoops in like Superman and saves the day. And so many of these things he has done, and all anybody ever goes on is, well, he's not a quarterback and the quarterback can't do it. Who's to say? Also in a season in which you had the Colts laying claim to the biggest surprise, and still to this point, as I mentioned earlier, nobody can still believe that this team is 8-2. Nobody believes this team to be legit. Here's what I would suggest. All you have to do is look around a little bit. Watch Buffalo yesterday against Miami. You're watching the Baltimore Ravens trying to work their way back up. The Jaguars yesterday were up in the fourth quarter 29-10 at Houston and lost. You've beaten two of the top three in the most challenging division in football, the AFC West. One at home, one on the road. You get the Chiefs coming up after the bye week. So, the best record of the NFL to this point, nobody's a victor, but as it goes, the victor to the victor goes the spoils. And Jonathan Taylor's the biggest reason why Jonathan Taylor is the league MVP. And that probably changes next week. And I know you have to go above and beyond. Yesterday, the work that he did in Berlin was going above and beyond. That stat line yesterday was doing more than just a normal MVP's work. 32 for 244 and 3. That's above and beyond. Your MVP is Jonathan Taylor with a lot of season to go. All right, back to your text line messages coming up in a minute. 317-239-1070 and your response. You guys all love Mike in Brooklyn, so do I. Now, we'll get to that. Bob Kravitz going to join us coming up. That is in the 5 o'clock hour. IU a 177 win over Marquette in Chicago yesterday. And joining us now on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he is the sharpshooter of the Hoosiers that had an outstanding first half. It is Tucker DeVries joining us now. Hey, Tucker, thanks for the time. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
I'm fired up to have you on the show because I love Do you know anytime during warm-ups or maybe with that first shot going down that this may be your afternoon or evening, if you will, like it was yesterday for you?
Not really. I mean, after the first one or two go in, and obviously it gives a lot of confidence for the next few. But just trying to stay part of the course, and they just happened to be going down yesterday.
How often do you work on? And obviously people think about the shot, Tucker, in general, and it just going down. But the mechanics of the shot, yours seems to be as smooth as anybody we see. How often do you work just on the mechanics alone of getting that shot off and feeling comfortable and then seeing that positive result?
Yeah, I think, a lot of it just comes down to reps and, being confident in the work that you put in, every day, just working on different ways to get shots off and, finding ways to get open even without the ball. But I thought yesterday the team did a great job of, finding the hot hand, and happened to be me in the first half, and then Lamar in the second half. I thought was really good for our offense.
Yeah, it's good to see, too, because they made a clear adjustment at the half, and then Lamar steps up, as you mentioned, in the second half, and then, has his moment as well. What's the old Indiana basketball experience been like for you so far? Not just IU in general, but the state of basketball and obviously our love here in the state. How has that been in your short time in Indiana?
Well, I think it's been great. It's obviously awesome to be able to play in front of such a passionate fan base, and I think that showed yesterday and in our first home game, and just how much they embrace Indiana basketball. And I know we're extremely excited to keep it going and play again on Wednesday in front of hopefully another great crowd, and just continue the success and make this fan base proud of what it's like to be at Indiana basketball.
As you mentioned, you get Milwaukee coming up on Wednesday, and Tucker DeVries is joining us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You guys, and I know Shaka Smart, Marquette's coach, remarked about this after the game, you guys look really in tune and cohesive with one another, even though it's been a short time and everybody is all new on this team. Were you surprised that you guys were that connected in a game like that yesterday? Because it looked like you guys have been together for a while.
Yeah, I think I wasn't really surprised yesterday, but I think a little bit surprised in how quickly it happened throughout the fall. I think, probably a month before the season when things really started to click, especially offensively, of just everybody really knowing how to play together. We have an extremely unselfish group, which makes it, really hard to guard when everybody's sharing the ball, moving without the basketball, and screening for one another, which I think is what makes our offense so dynamic. And then just the floor spacing of what we have opens up driving lanes for everybody 1 through 5, which is also unique for our offense.
Yeah, the ball pops. The ball really, Tucker, I'm sorry to interrupt. The ball pops, too.
No, you're good.
And normally when you're first-timers or short-timer with one another, there's a tendency to have the ball stick, right? And somebody trying to find their comfort area and something off the dribble, but the ball popped, I thought, as about as well as you could ask for it this early in the season yesterday.
Yeah, and I think especially with the way Marquette plays, their style of defense of a lot of pressure and trying to turn you over. I thought it was important for us if we could just kind of break that initial pressure and get them moving a little bit and use it against them a little bit more to get great shots after handling that initial pressure was very important. I thought we did a great job of that yesterday, and I think the results showed for that.
He is Tucker DeVries with us. How's the experience been, whether we're talking about Drake or at West Virginia or now at Indiana, playing for your father?
It's been good. Obviously there's good days and bad days, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I think it's been a great experience for both of us to be able to experience my career together, and just kind of the steps that it's taken for both of us to get to this point, and being able to experience those together has been really special.
I always thought it may take a little extra, I don't know. You got to soak up a lot, don't you? I mean, because you never really, truly, I'm assuming, get away from it. And that's why I think it's a lot different for you. So you almost have to be built a little bit different to be, I think, the son playing for the father, especially at this level. Is that how it's been for you at 3 stops now?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, obviously, basketball is a big part of my life, so I mean, it consumes a lot of my attention. But I wouldn't want it any other way. I think it's you just got to kind of embrace it, embrace the expectations, and just take it head on, and know that you've put in a lot of work to get to this point, and just go out there and show it every night.
All right, Tucker, what do you think ultimately the ceiling is for this team, or would you allow yourself even describe a ceiling as such this early in the season?
I don't think there's a pinpointed ceiling. I think, to be honest, I thought we played all right yesterday, but there's just so much more after watching the game that we're capable of getting better at. And I think with that being said and having the results that we've had, I think that's, a good feeling to have, to know that there's so much more potential to tap into for this team. And I think every day, as long as we're continuing to try and get to that point, I think it's going to result in a lot of good things this year.
Tucker, give us a couple of things that you guys have to improve upon, because really a lot of people see the way you shot it. I mentioned that the ball movement, the cohesion, and then, getting to the century mark and winning going away. But what are some of the things that stood out to you that you have to improve upon coming off of that win yesterday?
I'd say defensively, I mean, it's pretty easy to point out the fouls, but to be honest, I think it's more our cohesiveness on defense and just, being in the right spots more of the time, and especially a team like yesterday where they're really trying to put their head down, and I mean, it's what they're good at. They're good at drawing fouls, getting in the paint, but I think as a group, if we can, really tone in and build that chemistry on defense throughout the year, I think that's going to be a big part of us reaching our, full potential. And then offensively, I think if we're able to, continue to move it the way we're moving it and get the ball movement, and I think we have enough guys that can make a lot of shots that it's going to be really hard for teams to guard that.
He is Tucker DeVries, 27 points in the win IU over Marquette yesterday. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. What's funny? We go back a couple of years, even though you don't know this. I'm an Indiana State guy. So there I was, baseline 2 years ago, the MVC Arch Madness Championship, and you're going off for, 27 and 7. And the thing that stood out to me for the team that you were a part of, you and your dad at Drake, was the connection. And I thought that you were one of the most connected teams that I had seen all season long. It was like you were just like the sum of all your parts, kind of unified right there. Is that the ultimate compliment in this team sport, is when you look like you did then? And is that what you strive to do with this group in year number 1 at Indiana?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no better feeling than, all 5 guys being on the same page, super connected, and just helping each other out. And kind of like I said before, it's more the chemistry on defense that it can take some time to build. And I think that year at Drake, throughout the year, at the beginning of the year, we weren't great defensively. And then by the end of the year, I think we ended up, one of the best defensive teams in the country. And I think throughout this year, that's going to be key for us to continue to just get better on that end. And I think there's a lot of tools that we have on this team that are able to get to that point. So hopefully we're able to get there. And I think that part's something people maybe not realize as much as the chemistry on defense as it is on offense.
Yeah, I put it to this, and I'm not making comparisons to that team or this team or any team in the NBA, but that's what it felt like with the Pacers, for example, at the NBA level last year. I mean, these guys, you have these super scouting going on right now where they know your every move and what you're going to do and anticipate it, weeks in advance and prepare for it. But I think if you guys are connected in a group like one, it is really hard to scout that and to defend that. And I thought we saw that with the Pacers, and that's a special brand of basketball to me. And I saw that with your Drake team 2 years ago as you guys won the MVC. And I'm assuming that's, as a basketball player, what you strive for in the whole team concept. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think anytime you can have all 5 guys on the same page on both ends of the floor, it's going to result in a lot of good things. So I think as time goes, we're going to continue to build that chemistry on both ends and continue to play at a high level. So hopefully that can lead to the results we're striving for.
He is Tucker DeVries with us. So how's the enjoyment-wise watching what this football program is doing in Bloomington right now for you?
I mean, it's awesome. It's been fun to, go to a lot of their games here, and see the success they've had is been great for, just the campus, the town, and you can just see the fan base and the town rally around them, and that's, been really special. Looking forward to, seeing them finish off the year and do special things because it's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, man. It's funny, right, man? When you have success in sports, everybody feels good. Even if it's a chore in what you're doing, it feels good with that chore, does it not?
Yeah, no, it's winning solves a lot of problems, that's for sure.
It does. Tucker DeVries, he joins us. How you like Bloomington and the campus down at IU?
Oh, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun to be a part of and, see the fan base, the student body rally around, both us and the football team and all the sports. It's been really cool to have their support, and I've really enjoyed my time here.
It's Tucker DeVries, kind enough to join us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. IU gets Milwaukee coming up on Wednesday, and I believe Incarnate Word coming up after that. But a win yesterday in Chicago over Marquette, and Tucker is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. Man, I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time. Indiana State guy right there on the baseline 2 years ago, and you break my heart then. But it's certainly enjoyable to watch you be a part of this Hoosier program and shoot it and play in that team basketball fashion. It was fun as hell to watch yesterday. Congratulations on that, and keep moving that arrow up.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You got it, Tucker. Thank you. Tucker DeVries on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline right there. Thank you to IU for getting him on. Did not know initially that was going to happen, but here it is, and we do it on this Colts in Berlin Reaction Monday. You get an IU reaction with that win yesterday over Marquette. 177 was the final. Now, it's funny. I don't know if it's just my age. The older that you get, the more you start talking about, like, team concept stuff. And you saw a lot of team concept, and I mentioned the ball popping and not sticking. And normally when you have all these new players like this, that takes a lot of time. I'm not suggesting that's a finished product, but it was enjoyable to watch that yesterday because there was so much constant ball movement. It never really stopped. And then as he mentioned, too, it always helps when you're knocking down a high percentage of shots as they did against a very well-coached Marquette team. By the way, Marquette gets Purdue coming up in the month of December. IU gets the Golden Eagles yesterday afternoon, I should say, in Chicago, 177. Back to the Colts conversation coming up on the other side. Your calls at 239-1070. 317-239-1070. That is the text line. And speaking of Bloomington Thursday, Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. We're going to be live at the Upstairs Pub. And a lot of you are asking me if I can get my mom to join us. Thank you for that. I did ask her for you guys. And she said, well, if it has stairs, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get up them. And I don't know if they have a service elevator to get G upstairs at the Upstairs Pub. We shall see. I'll tell you what, if she does, I'm going to get her all fired up about something and just kind of crank it up and turn it loose. Thursday, the Upstairs Pub, Kirkwood and Bloomington, Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Your Colts going into the bye week responses. More to come at 239-1070. Don't go anywhere. We're back with you next.
Now talk to him, damn it.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Out of the gun is Jones. Empty set. Backs the pass on first down. He's got time. He's going to load one deep downfield for Alec Pierce. Into the end zone in double coverage. He makes the catch. Touchdown! A 37-yard strike. Jones to Alec Pierce for the touchdown in Berlin. Colts back on top, 12-7.
Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts. That's Joe Wrights right there, too, in Berlin yesterday. The Colts getting that win, and now a week off for the bye to figure out some things, which they're going to have to do. By the way, Tucker DeVries of IU a winner yesterday in Chicago over Marquette. Tucker DeVries shot the lights out, especially in the first half. It was funny. Somebody had said to me just a moment ago via text, it sounded like you were really concentrating on saying his name. You want to know why? Because it entered my head 3 or 4 times during that interview. I wanted to call him Tucker Barnhart. So I was concentrating not to call him former major leaguer and friend of this show, Tucker Barnhart, but Tucker DeVries. He is the coach's son. And a really good player. That podcast, if you missed any of the conversation, a lot of things too, just kind of individual shooting and the whole team orientation of IU and the way that it looks now is really good stuff from the senior. You can find that 1075thefan.com. Bob Kravitz, top of the hour. Your calls at 239-1070 coming up in just a minute, but right now, joining us, he is the owner of GBIWins.com, the legendary Michael Westwood, because we have a Monday Nighter to discuss right here. Michael, first time on the show. How are you?
John, what's happening? Or shall I call you JMV?
You call me JMV. Everything but like crank or clown or is acceptable.
No way. Listen, I'm a respectable New Yorker, so I will call you JMV in the house. Let me explain to you a couple things.
Sure.
First of all, out of respect, I'm going to congratulate you guys. Obviously, Indiana in college football are dominating, and we know what the Colts are doing right now. But you should really be thanking me for giving you guys. I mean, I'm embarrassed to say this, I'm a ticket holder, season ticket holder for the loser Giants. We made the donation and gave Mr. Dan. I mean, this is unbelievable. I can't even believe I'm saying this, okay? Your quarterback came directly from us, Daniel Jones. We gave him to you, and he's awesome, man. He's awesome. Anyone who leaves the New York team becomes a great, great athlete. Trust me when I tell you that. So let's keep the winning going on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I thank you for that, too, by the way, too. And you made a coaching change earlier today with that in mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. Coaching change. He's walking down 495 now with his thumb out looking for a ride home. I mean, it's horrible. Just absolutely horrible. It really is. But listen, the Jets won 2 games in a row, so I'm buying my my postseason tickets as we speak. Yeah, right.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, let me explain to you who I am, JMV, and tell you why I'm on the radio today, okay? I have been in the sports handicapping world for 42 years. I know how to beat the bookmakers on any given game day against the point spread. Tonight is my Monday night game of the year, okay? Over the last 27 years, I am 24-3, all right? That's an unbelievably incredible number. Your listeners probably don't believe me, so I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to release my Monday night game of the year between Green Bay and the Eagles absolutely free on my free recorded hotline. So all they have to do is they have to dial 1-800-885-2525. Again, that's 1-800-885-2525. It's on my free recorded hotline. There's no sales pitches. There's no hype. You'll get the winner of my Monday night football game of the year. Again, Eagles, Green Bay. It's free, and it's on my free recorded hotline. Call it now.
It's Michael Westwood, 1-800-855-2525. Let me get that right one more time, 800-855-2525.
Nope, at 1-800. Let me get it right for you.
This is why you may want to reference me as clown right here. 800
No. I know what you do.
2525. Yes.
885. You might be a little nervous talking to me.
I am. I'm very nervous.
You might be a little bit country. You might be a little bit country where you are. I might be a little bit rock and roll, but we both see the same money. That's the color green, baby.
I know.
And that's what I'm all about.
My problem, Michael, is I need glasses. All right, I need some new eyeballs or something. That's my problem.
It's not a problem. But more importantly, again, the number's 1-800-885-2525. Let me say it again.
Yes.
1-800-885-2525. It's my free recorded hotline. Again, it's my Monday night game of the year. I want to show every single person who is listening to this radio right now why my information is top notch. Call that number now, please.
You're feeling it, Michael, right? Tonight. You're feeling it.
You know what it is, JMV?
What is that?
To me. I've been doing this a long time, like I said. I mean, the last, we're going into week 11. So the 10 weeks right now, the general public has been getting housed. That means destroyed, okay? Stop it. Throw the white flag up. Let the professionals make your listeners money. Let me show you what it's all about to make money and having information that makes people money. So tonight is one of those, situations. I have not been on your radio station this year. I'm in 38 different states. I said, you know what? Let me go into Indianapolis. Let me show you guys what winning is all about, and that's why tonight is the night. It's my Monday night game of the year. It goes out to every single one of my clients, absolutely free, 1-800-885-2525. Call it now.
It is Michael Westwood for the first time right here. GBIwins.com, 1-800-885-2525. Look at the phones ringing in the background right there, Michael. It's already ringing.
Hook, baby. That's what I'm all about.
I love that.
All
right, and the Monday Nighter from Michael. And Michael, you're going to join us again next week too, right?
Absolutely. I'm going to be like Jock Itch, baby. You're not going to be able to get rid of me.
Cool. Well,
right now. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but that's what it's all about.
Yeah, Jock Itch, that's like the tame thing that's said on this show every afternoon right here. Jock Itch is okay.
Great speaking to you. And listen to me one more time.
Yes.
My Monday night game of the year, call me now, 800-885-2525. Get my free recorded message, absolutely free.
Michael, thank you, man. Go grab that phone.
You got it, baby. Thanks for taking me. I appreciate your time.
Michael Westwood right there, 27 years. The phone is ringing. I guess that has to make me feel good if the phone's ringing. Man, I botched that number at the beginning. Seriously, it's not because I can't see it. Who's going to get me new eyeballs? I've got a lot of new parts right here, and I'm going to have all new parts by the time I'm 60. I've got to have some new eyeballs because my vision's getting crappy, and it's affecting my jumper. 1-800-885-2525. And if you're asking about Michael and you go, well, wait a minute, is there not a guy? Doesn't Kevin come on Thursday? I think there is these network of guys from the East Coast, and I think they've seen the type of response Kevin's received, and I'm being inundated with people wanting to come on the show, which is good. It's good. But, yeah, all of a sudden they heard about Kevin. Kevin's buying drinks, and he and Brent Halverson are buddies every Thursday, and Michael Westwood said, I want a part of that too. And here he is.
Well, we got Gritty in the chat saying, what's up with all the New Yorkers and wondering if you're involved with the mob now.
Yeah, I know. And then Mike in Brooklyn, who calls a couple of times a week as well. I will say this, because of this technology now, we go nationwide, and it is a lot easier for those to get involved on the show. And Gritty, that is a product of where we are today. Absolutely a product. That is Michael Westwood right there. Outstanding. I love the fact these guys want to be on the show. His phone was ringing in the background, too. That's good. Bob Kravitz, top of the hour. Andy is up next at 239-1070. Andy, welcome to the show. How are you?
I am doing great. How are you, John?
I'm great, Andy. What's up, buddy?
I just wanted to get your perspective on the IU game from Saturday because as an IU fan and I went to Bloomington myself, I was on the edge of my seat the whole game.
It was amazing. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, normally you have an event, a moment like that in an incredibly special season that you can look back on and everything kind of hinges on that particular play. And the fact that you had the Heisman Trophy leader, make it to a local kid, just a couple of different sport athlete, and Omar Cooper Jr., making not just the catch of the year, that's the catch of decade, right? I mean, especially in that particular moment with what is all on the line, where that team had been, it just it was amazing all the way around for a program that's still going through the process of trying to announce his presence on a national college football stage. Pretty amazing stuff.
Do you think that sealed Mendoza's Heisman hopes? Or I know he doesn't have as good a stats as like Julian Sayin or Ty Simpson, but
I don't think that. Yeah, it's almost like when you look around the landscape of college football with all these teams with an opportunity, I think you still have a lot of guys with opportunities. This is like a year where it seems like everything is wide open. As far as being a front runner, that's what a play like that does for you. You become a front runner because of that. It doesn't lock anything away because, again, when you look around, there are a lot of guys week after week that are making plays, a lot of teams week after week that step up. There is just more of an opportunity with the Heisman and with winning a national title in college football this season. I think there are a lot more teams and a lot more players that, are up for that, and the availability is there. It's one of those seasons, but I think it makes it a hell of a lot more impactful and entertaining to me.
yeah, I bought my Big Ten championship tickets about 4 weeks ago, and all the thoughts running through my mind after that, I was like, oh my God, are we going to give them up? Am I going to have to try to pawn these for $100 a piece to a Michigan fan now? Or
it is. It was awesome. Through. It was great. What else you got? Anything else?
No, that's it, man. Thanks for taking my call.
You call anytime. Thank you very much. All right. Listen, I'm from Greene County, Indiana. I still live in a somewhat rural area, and I'm never going to be out of it. So you don't have to say, stay focused on your real listeners. We don't want this New York attitude. All right, there's nothing wrong with sharing opinions with everybody. These New York guys, especially Mike in Brooklyn when he calls, he's fantastic. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, like all of a sudden I'm going to be New York. Come on now. I'm the biggest hillbilly ever. And I realize that. And I soak it up. Here's the other thing, too. After 24 years of doing this, I think I have earned the right to be a pretty good judge of what I'm doing. Hopefully you understand that. Hopefully you do. I don't mind it. It is interesting to me. You know what else it does? It helps out the station, too. That's also interesting to me. So hopefully you understand it. Don't be pissy. Hell, I do the same thing, but I'm a hillbilly every Thursday. I tell you about my picks. My picks, well, at least until the last 2 weeks, have been exceptional. I don't think they were good this week either. I love the fact you guys are calling them, though. Makes me laugh. Surely to goodness that can't. Are people really worried about New York attitudes around here, or is that just one or two?
I think it's probably the vocal minority.
Jeremiah Wheatley just sent this picture of my big head with glasses. You know, it's funny. I actually tried on some reading glasses the other day. I just don't want to do it because I'm afraid that it's even further going to affect my vision when I don't have them on.
Those weren't even your prescription. Like, those weren't prescriptions for you. Those were just somebody else's glasses.
Yeah, it was somebody else. I was using them like a magnifying glass.
What
is there an optometrist down? If I wear readers like just to read better, because I completely botched his number. If I wear readers to read better, will that affect my vision when I don't have them on? Is anybody out there smart enough to be an optometrist? And not whining and crying about East Coast guys?
According to Microsoft Bing, that is a myth. That
is it?
Yeah,
okay.
that it negatively affects your
So
eyesight.
I should run right out and get some readers then.
Apparently, yeah.
Because I can't see hardly anything anymore.
When was the last time
I don't
you
even
went
know
to
what the hell. It was almost like I was giving a different number out, too.
When was the last time you went to an eye doctor?
Right around never.
Ah.
Yeah. I think, no, I take that back. I think when I was in elementary at Eastern, I think IU, and I don't know if they do this any longer, the optometry department with their students, they used to like get in an RV and go to the area schools and give everybody eye tests.
It's been that long.
If anybody remembers that in and around Bloomington, it was an annual event. They would get in their RV and they would drive down to Greene County and give the student body of Eastern Greene an eye test in the RV. And that's the last time I had one.
You know, if you decide to go to an optometrist, you should film it and put it out on social, because I'd love to see how you did on everything.
Yeah. I can't see anything right now. It's problematic. As you can tell with me trying to read off that number. Elvis writes this, that betting dude cracked me up. He said, "Your country," and he's rock and roll. He's obviously never heard you on Saturday night. Yeah, I know. I get a little bit loose on Saturday night. Really, really loose this past Saturday night. You know, that's the other thing, too. It's the other thing about doing this show and what is so fundamentally enjoyable about doing Saturday night. And people always ask, man, you go in there and that's so much time. You know, now you're 6 days a week, you're 7 days a week during the football season. You know, why don't you just take it off? It is, if you do what I do, it is so much fun to be out there and then be able to do something that nobody else can. And nobody else is able. I'm not suggesting I have some superpower. That's not it. But you're not afforded in this world of radio any longer to do anything like that. You know, to be, you know, in the living rooms or wherever with your audience and then allow them to be on the air. It's really exciting to me. And this is exactly the reason why I got into doing this and exactly the reason why I've been doing it for 24 years. And you're always trying to find that new layer, that new level of excitement, and that definitely is it. Thank you, guys. So no optometrist calling in right now? I think I need a little help. All right, your calls, guys, on the other side, too. Bob Kravitz coming up at the top of the hour. Shout out to Michael Westwood. Thank you for calling, Michael. Tucker DeVries of IU also a little bit earlier. The podcast, 1075thefan.com. Back with you next.
JMV.
The sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Under center, Daniel Jones, great give to Jonathan Taylor. He's well over 100 yards. He adds to his total there, and he gets out. He's at the 30, 35, 40. He's going sideline. He's got a chance. Look at Pierce. He's at the 20, 10, 5, touchdown. There's the record breaker for Jonathan Taylor, and it puts the Colts on top, 22-17. And that's an all-time record for an already all-time great. Jonathan Taylor now has the most rushing touchdowns in Colts history.
That's Matt Taylor. Was that Joe Wright's in the background with the woohoo? All right. Colts radio right there. Colts a winner. They get a bye week, 8-2 on the season. And if you watched all this other crap that went down, did you watch the way Houston got done at home? Check that. I'm sorry. What Houston did at home in 29-10 down in the fourth and coming from behind against Jacksonville with Davis Mills, for goodness sake. How about Buffalo and South Florida? Yeah, they're things you have to improve and get better with, but damn. Feel good about that. I want you guys to stay on hold. 5 o'clock hour after Kravitz and I've got time for everybody. I did want to get Doc. Is Doc Terry on here right now really quick? Doc Terry, go ahead. How are you? Help out the show,
Hey,
Doc.
John. Hey, John. How you doing?
Great. Go ahead, brother.
So I'm not an optometrist. I'm a doctor of Porscheology. Porsche Doc Terry. I've talked to you before.
Yes.
But what I've got for you is 25 years of experience with what you are experiencing now. And that is choosing readers over, official glasses.
Yes.
And I've been bouncing that off, kicking that can down the road since I was 43. People start to lose their nearsightedness in the lower to mid 40s. And I just want to tell you that I do have my eyes checked about every 5 or 6 years. They seem to be just fine. The deficiencies, however minor, stayed the same.
So I haven't had mine checked since 1982. Could be problematic, Terry, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I thought the other issue I may have is I was always told when I was younger if I did something so much I would go blind. Does that have an effect too?
I can attest to I can see wonderfully, and that is
okay. Well, I've been
not
doing
true.
that. I've been doing that a lot lately because I've been a lot of time by myself. Yes.
I was sitting here on hold thinking about the Colts and mentioning Daniel Jones, and it just occurred to me that Daniel Jones is kind of like, you remember that toy Jack in the Box?
Yes.
That had a crank on the side,
yes.
And you crank it and crank it and crank it. You don't know when it's going. That's what happens with Daniel, and the rest of the season is going to be keeping Daniel pushed back in the box.
Well, thank you, Doc Terry, the Porsche Doc Terry, for the Jack in the Box analogy of Daniel Jones. I sure as hell know we got to revisit that on the other side. If you're on hold, we'll do that as well. Bob Kravitz also coming up, and Win Schuler Spreadability. You can find it at your favorite Meijer location, Gordon's Food Service, and Neiman's Harvest Market. It's elite level snacking, the spreadability of Win Schuler's. Bob Kravitz and your calls, 5 o'clock hour, straight ahead next.
Have a few words with you, by God.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
See if the Colts can get some yardage here. Daniel Jones looking, steps up in the pocket, outside the pocket, 45. He's at the 50, down the right sideline, close to a first down.
Wow, he almost got it.
And he's pushed out of bounds over to the sideline in front of the Falcons at the 40-yard line. And that's a huge scramble there by Daniel Jones, and it picks up 19 yards. And now the Colts have a chance on 4th and 2.
I'm going to tell you what, most important play of the game right there. And it was not a masterpiece, and he's got to protect the football, and the offensive line got to do pass protection a hell of a lot better. But, man, was that a moment. I think you may, if they go where hopefully they do for the fan base here, you're going to look back at that scramble to make 4th down reasonable in distance, which ultimately was productive with Tyler Warren. You're going to look back at that maybe as the play of the year. Well, you could talk about Badgley getting the kick right finally and all that, but that was a moment right there, everybody. You had a moment this weekend, too, significantly. We'll get into that. If you're on hold, I got JJ and John waiting. We'll get back to you guys in a second. But on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, BobKravitz.com. It's Bob Kravitz who joins us now. Is that one of those moments? We all know that teams have them when seasons turn out to be special. We know that moments like that do occur. Obviously, when you look at IU on Saturday with Omar Cooper Jr., that was the highest of levels. But I thought Daniel Jones, the scramble to make that 4th down reasonable, was pretty large in its own right yesterday, Bob.
In every great season, there comes a moment of truth. You know, either you're going to get it done or you're not. And I thought both IU and the Colts were able to make plays. You are absolutely right, and I'm angry at myself for not mentioning it in my column. But you're right. That scramble by Daniel Jones was so far, that was the play of the year, no question. I kept getting people on X telling me that Daniel Jones was reverting back to the play that he showed us in New York. And I'm like, are you crazy? He was 25 of 31 for 255. He ran a couple of times for another 55 yards. And that scramble was just a great play. And obviously the IU play, I mean, that's going to be in every bar. That picture is going to be in every bar in Bloomington for time immemorial.
Yeah, and it should. Bob Kravitz is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. No question about that. We'll get to IU in just a second. I did want to go back to Daniel Jones and your comment there. I think the giving away of the football, which you also can thoroughly blame on the offensive line and lack of production, but I think you look at giving away the football is where people make the connection and the relation to Daniel Jones now in the last 2 weeks to that of Daniel Jones in his 6 seasons with the Giants. However, I think it's up to Jones certainly to be more protective of the football, knowing what he can't do in situations like that now. But it's also up to Shane Steichen. Teams, I think, defensively, you saw the Steelers individually with high-level performers figure things out at home, the week before last, and you saw Atlanta bring oftentimes a blitz and the house. They figured it out. It's time for Shane Steichen now in this off week to figure some things out, how to get this offense back in a collective groove again, especially with that line.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not quite sure. I mean, I will say this. The two teams they have played both have good pass rushes. They both have really good front sevens. And I mean, with Pittsburgh, you're talking Highsmith, Watt, Cam Hayward, a lot of guys like who are going to end up in the Hall of Fame. So, I'll give them a mulligan. It's the second mulligan I've given out this year. They still got it done somehow. Jonathan Taylor made sure of that. But you're absolutely right. They whether it's schematic or just a matter of getting things right in terms of fundamentals, I'm not sure. But Shane Steichen knows all too well that they've got to get this offensive line playing better than they have.
Yeah, and they're not protecting, and really he's not reacting to that lack of protection. And Bob, this team offense played at a high level, and it's all a part of pieces, and it makes the sum of the level in which we witnessed through the first month and a half of the season and what it hasn't been in the last 2 weeks, and that's all adjusting to it. And Daniel Jones has to adjust because he has to be more protective of the football, and you got to find out some ways and means in which to hopefully give him a little bit more time, but the offensive line has to play a hell of a lot better as well.
Yeah. That said, they ran for 332 yards.
Yeah, they did.
So
and that's
the offensive line did a good job in the run game, certainly. But the way you get people off you is a lot of screens, a lot of quick passes to the outside, a lot of Jonathan Taylor. But they were bringing it, no question, and the Colts never really adjusted. So that's something that in the off week, teams self-scout, and they look at what they do often, what they do well, what they don't do, different trends in their play calling. So I think they'll come up with some answers here in the off week, the bye week, and then you got Kansas City.
What'd you think about Sauce Gardner in game number 1?
Thought he was terrific. I mean, he had the one play on the 2-point conversion where it looked like he either got faked out of his jockstrap or he slipped or both. But that, otherwise, Drake London, when they were paired up together or against each other, he had 2 catches for, I think, 24 yards. So he didn't do anything when he was up against the other guys. A lot of times he would motion into the slot and he was able to get Gardner off of him. But I thought Sauce played really well, especially considering the circumstances. I mean, he's been here for 10 minutes. He's on a plane to Berlin. He's got to get his mind right. And I thought he looked – and look, here's another thing. In the overtime, you notice the Colts are bringing the house on every play. And I think that's because they felt comfortable with their secondary. They could hold it down, and specifically Sauce Gardner, that he would be able to cover his guy. And, you saw the pressure they got on Penix there late in the game.
It's Bob Kravitz at bobkravitz.com with us. I felt with Sauce Gardner, and I said this earlier, that when he was, working instinctually, I thought that he looked a lot better than moments. I thought he was in delay because he was trying to figure out exactly where the hell he was supposed to be.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Look, like everybody else, I'm watching the ball when I watch a game. He didn't get beat. He had a couple of tackles, which is not necessarily his game. He's not the most physical guy when it comes to tackling. But I thought he played really well. And again, I thought that he gave Lou Anarumo the freedom to bring the house late in the game and into overtime.
All right, Bob, you mentioned a little bit earlier, much like I did, that in a great season, high-level elite season, normally there's a signature moment. We'll get to the IU part of that in Penn State coming up in a second. But we talked about the Daniel Jones scramble as well. I think also if the trend will be bucked and a running back wins an MVP award for the first time since whatever it was, 2012.
2012.
That's the type of season, or that's the type of game, signature performance, I think, that is necessary. It was a standalone in Berlin that if you're a football fan, probably everybody watched. I think that's the type of performance that you need outside of your normal elite level consistency if you're Jonathan Taylor to win the MVP.
Yeah, that's the thing that, I don't understand why it's always a quarterback. I mean, if you're going to give it to a quarterback every year, just award it to the most valuable quarterback. And what would concern me if I'm Jonathan Taylor or a Colts fan is that Saquon Barkley had an amazing year, went over 2,000 yards, and didn't win the MVP last year. So, and I don't know if Jonathan's going to go for 2,000. He's not quite on a pace yet to get there. But If Saquon didn't win it, what chance does Jonathan Taylor have? That said, which quarterback is really stepping out and looks like an MVP candidate? I would say Stafford, Drake May, I guess. But nobody has really separated themselves from the pack. So I think if there's any year that a running back could win the MVP, this might be it.
And with that in mind, I think if there's any year that IU can compete for a national championship and their quarterback can win a Heisman, it's this year for a lot of the similar thoughts that you just expressed.
Yeah, I don't vote for the Heisman anymore, and I will admit, as a graduate of that fine institution, there's a little bit of me that's rooting for the Hoosiers to do well. But yeah, to me, Mendoza's he's the front runner for the Heisman. If things stay the same these next couple of games, I got to think he's going to put up really gaudy numbers here against Wisconsin and Purdue. I think he's the runaway pick for the Heisman Trophy.
What's amazing about that performance and that win on Saturday was how IU looked on that final drive, and then you factor in the Omar Cooper Jr. catch, which is an absolute all-timer, that actually followed Charlie Becker in a sideline catch that would have been somewhat of an all-timer, a drive sustainer, a game-winning drive sustainer, but certainly got in this case, I think, overdone as far as Cooper Jr. did with his. It's amazing the contributions that this team gets when it's necessary to have them.
Where the hell is Charlie Becker from?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I knew nothing about him. I didn't know he was on the team. But to me, that's a testament to guys staying ready, and it's a testament to great coaching. Because when your depth guys are able to come in and produce and contribute, that to me is a reflection on the coaching staff. And I think they've got one hell of a coaching staff down there.
I don't think there's any question about that. What do you think as far as what Kurt Cignetti has done to put together this program at this particular level in such a short time? What's the most impressive asset? To me, it's just judge of talent / what is going to fit to make your program this high level. I mean, it is just amazing all the right levers he's pulled in bringing in personnel and cobbling together a team at this level.
And the great thing is that it's opened the doors to higher level recruits. And, the thing with Cignetti is I want production. I don't care about what I don't care what you might do. I want to know what you can do, what you do in fact do. So, no, he's amazing. He's an amazing judge of talent. He's an amazing builder of teams, culture. I know that's your favorite word, along with culture. Narrative.
And Mount Rushmore of. Don't leave that out.
Oh yeah, Mount Rushmore. Yeah. Well, he's on the Mount Rushmore of coaches, I'll say that. I mean, what he's done is without precedent. To come into a school where losing was a way of life for a century, and, with occasional blips on the radar, and to do this, to be looking at a Big Ten championship and a first-round bye in the CFP, who else has done that? I mean, was it Snyder at Kansas State
Bill
turned
Snyder.
Them around?
Yeah.
Eventually the guy at Wisconsin.
Well, it was first Alvarez, right, that got it going.
Alvarez, Alvarez.
And what's funny about that's the matchup at noon on Saturday, and there's been IU's obviously taking it to a different level, but there's been a role reversal in terms of football with these two programs. We'll see.
Well, look at what they did at Penn State. They never, they for forever winning at Penn State. Go in there, and I don't care what their record is. Penn State still has Penn State talent. they still have really good players, very sought after recruits. So it did not surprise me that game stayed fairly close. Now I thought IU would win, in the end by 10, 13 points, but it didn't surprise me completely because they got nothing to lose at Penn State. I mean, they're just playing to play. They can play free and easy. So it didn't surprise me, but just so impressive the way IU, after Mendoza gets sacked on the first play of that final drive, and to come back and a couple of great passes and with no timeouts, it's just remarkable.
Well, it's interesting to see the niches that have been found, for example, with Cignetti here. And, a guy like that's had a number of times in what you've seen, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, they're a one-loss team, but also it just seems like he landed in the right spot with the right group and is creating, I hate this word as you mentioned a little bit earlier, that type of culture in a new era altogether of college athletics to where if you can find the funds and create something, you don't have to be grandfathered in the college football game in that atmosphere any longer. You can win, and you can win right here and right now if you do it right and pick the right people.
I feel bad for other first-year coaches around college sports because, like the guy up at Purdue, Odom, now everybody expects you to turn it around in 10 minutes, like Cignetti has. And like I say, it's without precedent. I can't think. I mean, usually there's a year or two of adjustment of building that culture and all that stuff, but this happened within 10 minutes. It's crazy.
So is the next James Madison coach is going to have once he leaves and goes someplace else, which I think is coming up relatively soon, he's going to have some big shoes to fill, right?
Oh, my gosh. I can only imagine. And we seem to have a basketball team again.
Yeah.
Not to get you on a different subject.
No, that's okay. I was thinking about the whole James Madison thing. I think that guy, what is his name? Bob Chesney, who was at James Madison now. I think they're undefeated and he's highly sought after now too. So not undefeated, but one loss team. I think maybe they are unbeaten. Anyway, he's highly sought after, and what I'm saying is he'll have, some large shoes to fill in what you were talking about. What people are going to expect when he goes someplace else.
Absolutely.
And the basketball program, you're right. I talked to Tucker DeVries a little bit earlier. How is it to watch a team, much like I look at the Pacers last year, where the ball pops, doesn't stick, it gets moved around everywhere. That's IU basketball offensively. They take a lot of threes. They're making a lot of threes. They hit their free throws. So, yeah, it is, since the last 8 years has conditioned us to completely the opposite. This is a breath of fresh air.
Oh, absolutely. Now I have YouTube, so I did not see the game. I just saw highlights, but I was really impressed with the ball movement, with the body movement, with the ability and the willingness to take threes. It's like they discovered how to play basketball in the year 2025.
It is. It's like they discovered fire down there to the fans. Oh my God, what is this? I mean, that's exactly. I was watching yesterday, Bob, and it was it was so refreshing to see. And what I was talking to Tucker about a little bit earlier was normally you don't get a brand new collection of dudes like they have there. And everything is so cohesive. The ball didn't stick. And maybe that was a product of Marquette not being that great. But normally Shaka Smart has good, well-aware teams. Yeah, no matter what time of the season that it is. I was just impressed by how early it is and how joined this team looked together in a neutral site situation like Chicago yesterday. It was impressive. It was.
It was very impressive. And I wish I had seen.
Yeah, no. You got to get the cord again. Plug the cord back in, Bob. You can't cut the cord anymore.
I don't know what I should do. I don't know whether I should stick it out or.
We live in a world of being screwed in that capacity. You're going to get dragged 19 different ways, and if you enjoy sports or cover sports, you're either going to have to accept that. Believe me, I'm kicking and screaming, Bob. I just found this out a couple of months ago, and I've challenged my listeners to kick my ass when they see me. I pay over $300 to DirecTV.
Whoa.
Yes.
What do you have?
Well, I don't even get porn with that either. I don't even know
you don't get the pixelated porn.
No, I get the softcore, the G-rated porn is what I get.
Oh, that's no fun. That's no fun.
But that's what it takes to make sure that I get to watch what is necessary for me to watch right here. Yeah.
Well, it is a tax write-off, so you got that going.
Well, I do that. I have no idea where that's going. I think somebody else signed up as me here this last tax season, so I don't know what the hell's happening. No, it's not.
That's not good.
I don't know why they wanted to. I'm surprised they didn't look at it and go, of all the people I want to sign up to be, it sure as hell shouldn't be him. Why am I doing this? But
right,
evidently not.
Hey, I was going to tell you, I have begun my weight loss journey like you did.
My brothers. All right.
I won't lose 1,000 pounds and look like a freaking bobblehead, but I'd like to drop 20 or 30.
Oh man! All I have to do is look at my We Grow Hair indie commercials that still roll all the time, and I go, that doesn't even look like me anymore.
Watch the hair commercial with Bowen. He looks at the guy like he looks at his wife in a particular amorous moment. It's the funniest thing. Yeah, I'm like, Bowen, what are you doing?
Oh yeah,
check it out. Next time that hair commercial comes on, check out how Bowen is staring at the hair replacement guy.
Lovingly eyes to the field resolder. Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah. So what are you going to have done next? That's my question.
I need new eyes. I just put that out there a little bit earlier. I had this guy on, and I completely misread his number. And, I can't see anything anymore. And I was asking about readers. Like, I'll lay in bed looking at my phone, Bob, and I use a magnifying glass.
Oh, that's not good.
And
that's not good. Well,
my jumper's broke because of it, too.
I'm sure you can get a comp. Just do an ad for them.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get new eyeballs, and I need new ears because I can't hear very well either.
Man, you are a mess. I thought I was bad. I thought I was falling apart.
Well, it's funny. All this stuff, like the stuff that I have right now, is like you see the exterior of the car that has been fixed, but I need to fix some engine dynamics right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
pan gasket or something.
That's the other thing with the weight loss, because I have noticed I am such a different basketball player at 55 now, Bob, and I'm really proud. I'm up and down the floor like crazy, but I'm more injured now than I ever. Like when I was fat, I never got injured, and now I'm a loser of 80 pounds, and it seems like I'm injured because why? Well, because my engine is different. I have a new engine. But the exterior is the same, and I have pieces that are kind of flying off when I'm going down the road.
You mentioned that you never got hurt when you were fat. Tony Gwynn, who I covered in 1984 in San Diego, once said, "Dude, you can't pull fat."
It's beautiful. I think he's right about that. I
love that guy.
He's right about that, too. And that's kind of how it feels. So how long have you been on your weight loss journey?
1 week. 1 week. And that first couple of days is not pleasant.
But high protein it up, buddy. High protein it up. All right.
High protein. Yeah, I'm having some salmon tonight. Is that okay?
The salmon's awesome right there. Do a lot of tuna. Dive into listen, we're a world.
I'm not doing cottage cheese.
No,
though.
Seriously, the rest of the world's caught on. You can't get it anywhere now. It won't stay in stock. The rest of the world's caught on to the cottage cheese craze right here.
Oh, Lord of mercy.
Oh, it's great.
There are certain things I won't. The great thing about this deal is you can still pretty much eat what you want. You just don't feel like eating much of it.
See, I went like the highest of levels where I just stopped everything and put my nose down and went at it. So that's kind of
for you.
Yeah.
Well, and my next goal is to get my fat behind out to the gym and start working out again.
All right, buddy. Well, you let me know if you need any helpers on this, because I've got some solid knowledge on the subject matter.
All right, sounds good.
Bob, I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, man.
It's
Take care.
Bob Kravitz at bobkravitz.com. He has started his weight loss journey. Yeah, $300+. There's no porn. But I do that just because I don't want to have to jack around. And then sometimes I do because it's not a fail-safe with DirecTV by any stretch, even with the amount that I pay. I mean, who knows if they get crossways with Nexstar, all of a sudden I lose local channels, and I've got to go over to Jeff Watson, the Paradise Day Watson, and watch games or go to the bar or something. There is no fail-safe in this entire thing, and that sucks. Quick break, and we shall return. Hey, I want to hear from you. Final 30, you and I at 239-1070. Can you hold up your end of the bargain? Tucker DeVries. Who else has been on the show? Oh, Michael Westwood a little bit earlier, to Bob Kravitz as well. Podcast 1075thefan.com. Back with you guys next.
Listen here. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Now go away.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
And now EJ wide to the right side. Becker comes to the near side. Nowakowski to the near side. And Cooper to the near side. Hemby to the right of Mendoza in the backfield. Here's the snap. And Fernando going to step up. He's going to run. He's got down to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown! And Indiana gets a huge play from their quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, who takes it in from 17 yards out.
Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers. I'm trying to get him to the Upstairs Pub coming up on Thursday, where I want to see all of you for Week 11 and our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots, where my 80-year-old mother says if they have an elevator and Brent Halverson brings Evan Williams eggnog, that she will also make an appearance. And I said, I don't think they have an elevator. We could get you a scissor lift. Oh, she didn't like that.
Could just get a bunch of ropes, sit her in a chair, and just kind of haul her up there that way.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. See, that's one thing I want. If she does make an appearance, I'm going to get her all wound up before she gets there.
Now, if she is there, will she still call you during the show? Is she still gonna?
Probably. You'll definitely hear her in the background. There's no doubt about that. Hey, shout out to our good friend Denny Smith, who brought in. I'm a lunchbox collector, vintage. This is from 1984, the Thermos brand metal lunchbox, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Let me turn that around. There it is right there. There's Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, and the Temple of Doom. Let's check inside. There is no thermos in here. There is a paper clip. Doesn't look bad. I have 100 plus of these in my basement. So here's one from 1982. You guys remember G.I. Joe. This is G.I. Joe, again, inside the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. G.I. Joe from 1982. Also made by Thermos. Now, I look inside that. Everything's pretty clean. No thermos. All good. But thank you, Denny Smith. And what's interesting about it, we sort of were winding down the metal lunchbox era at this time. I think around 1984 and after is when they started making that transition to plastic lunchboxes and moving away from metal. But thank you, Denny Smith. 2 vintage for me to add to the collection. I don't think I have either one, to be honest. I may have this Indiana Jones one, but I don't think I have either one. I know I don't have the G.I. Joe. Thank you, Denny Smith, for the additions to the collection. And if you guys ever want to see some solid material right there, I'll send you pictures of it. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has the Gomer Pyle USMC from 1966. But I do. 239-1070. Busy show so far today. Bill is going to start us out here. Hello, Billy. How are you, buddy?
JMV, how are you doing today?
Billy, we've got 2 locations. The Upstairs Pub, Bloomington, Thursday. Back 9, Bud Light Blue Friday on Friday.
Those are two really good venues. And I remember, I think the last time you were at Back 9, if I'm not mistaken, Lindsay Monroe and Gina Galeras got out there and picked up a couple of sticks and were spanking the golf ball pretty good.
There was, yes,
what I remember.
Spanking. Yeah, that made me giggle a little bit when you said it that way. But yes, there is no doubt about it. Both Gina and Lindsay were there. Now, Gina works in the afternoon now for Wish TV Channel 8. So I don't know if she's able to get out at any time. But we'll try to get Lindsay back out sometime again soon, too.
And that was just a really, really good show, and that's a great venue to have.
And I tell you what, tell Chelsea Helms to come back out as well. We had her out about a month ago at the Ale Emporium from CBS 4, and she enjoyed it, so we can get her back out at some point, too.
Hey, everybody come on out.
Yeah, just everybody. Hell yeah. Billy, are you there? Billy just disappeared. I think Billy had a FUBAR-esque phone connection right there, unless that was us. Tucker DeVries a little bit early. If you missed him, the IU shooter. 1075thefan.com is in the podcast. Is Bill rejoining us now? Are we all good, Billy? Hello, Bill.
Yeah, I thought that was my ex-wife for a minute, but
I don't know what in the world happened right there, but you disappeared. Go ahead.
Well, on this day in sports history, 1948, Newt Rockne actually gave the win one for the Gipper speech in the locker room at halftime. And if anybody ever gets a chance to watch the old movie, the Newt Rockne story, the Gipper is actually played by
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. So that's kind of a fun movie to watch. But I saw a story yesterday that was kind of interesting. The Rose Bowl and the city of Pasadena have gotten a restraining order and are preparing to sue UCLA because UCLA wants to break their lease they have with the Rose Bowl, which is supposed to go until 2043, and move to SoFi Stadium.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting. But
then the reason why, and I think Jake Query's told this story before, is while the Rose Bowl is iconic and always will be, it doesn't have the amenities certainly that SoFi has, which is the highest of levels, or really any other place. It just has the history of being an iconic venue. So it's a tough call right there. It is.
Yeah, and I have a friend that went and watched a game at the Rose Bowl once. He said it was a terrible place to watch a game. He said, the seats were real.
They're very
thin.
tight. They're very tight, and it is. It is not of the luxurious fashion which all those amenities that new stadiums to have today for sure.
So I can see why they want to leave, but hey, you gotta honor your lease. But also in this day in IU football history, IU was playing Michigan State in '67, the Rose Bowl year, and they were losing to Michigan State late in the fourth quarter, 14-7 or 13-7, and a guy named Eric Stolberg made not exactly a comparable catch to the one that Cooper made, because the presence of mind for Cooper to look down at his feet, make sure he
greatest in the history of IU football easily, and one of the I think it's right up there with one of the greatest football catches at any level of all time, considering the circumstances, easily of all time.
Yeah, if you wanted to measure his foot from the back line, you have to go to the metric system, man, because it was.
Well,
it was
not only that, but just his vertical. I mean, hell, he almost could have dunked over the crossbar while trying to do that. It's just all around. It is one of the, and Billy, I got to run here. Thank you for the call. One of the most amazing football catches of any level of football. And I don't care if you're an IU fan or a fan of another team. That's what it was. This is not just an IU football hype machine going on here. That's the truth. You look at everything that went into that catch. The moment itself, the level of difficulty, one of the greatest catches we have ever seen on any level of football. That is not hyperbole, folks. That is 100% the truth. JJ leads on the other side. We'll finish with calls. We'll tell you all about tomorrow and the rest of the week as well. Stream the app, the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Stay right there. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
He's my homeboy, my rotten soldier. He's my sweet cheese, my good time boy.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I got something for you to win right here. Number 9, are you ready? Matt Rife is a comedian. Is Matt Rife funny?
I don't think I've ever actually watched any of his stuff.
Matt Rife. Cambridge Fieldhouse. Now, I will say you're going to have a minute to wait on this. November the 8th of 2026. So almost a year from now. A little under a year from now. But number 9 at 239-1070. If you would like a pair of tickets next year around this time, you can go to the Fieldhouse. We'll be watching Tyrese Halliburton play, and the Pacers cohesive and healthy and stuff like that. And all good to go see Matt Rife. Number 9 at 239-1070. You, my friend, can be a winner. It's outstanding. Hey, shout out to Tom Crean doing the broadcast yesterday, by the way, on ESPN. I think Corey Alexander had travel issues, and Tom Crean stepped in and didn't miss a beat, per usual. Hopefully we get Tom on the show a little bit later on this week. Tucker DeVries of IU earlier, that podcast, 1075thefan.com. Bob Kravitz, bobkravitz.com also earlier. He thought Sauce Gardner was terrific. I thought Sauce Gardner looked good on instincts, looked confused in trying to learn things otherwise. But I'm certainly going to reserve judgment and give him a little bit more than just 48-plus hours in the building to understand some things and then go fly off to Berlin and play. I didn't mind it. No, even with the 2-point conversion that he gave up to Drake London. Bob Kravitz podcast, 1075thefan.com. And Michael Westwood. And by the way, you guys responded to Michael Westwood. I know a lot of you gave me crap about it, but man, you guys like Kevin Todd and Michael admit it. Admit it. You like Michael Westwood and Kevin Todd. Kevin Todd, now back-to-back weeks, has bought like rounds of drinks.
Say, Michael's going to have to step his game up a little bit.
He's going to have to. Shout out to Jim Merritt. Somebody at DirecTV give JMV access gratis. Thank you, Jim. Yes. Not only that, but how about with SiriusXM too, Jim? Thank you. Thanks for thinking about me, Jim. JMV, the next thing I'm doing is my blank will get Botox. Yeah, me too. I'm not getting Botox. I don't think I'm getting Botox ever. But new eyes and new ears, I'm down with that program. Thank you very much. At JMV, one thing to consider is that the Falcons' number 1 pass defense in the league going in. JMV, Trevor Lawrence is a prettier Blake Bortles, Dave Sellers. JMV, going to the Pacers-Suns game Thursday since there's still a lack of national coverage of the guys. Do you have any idea who might be playing that night? I have no idea who's going to be playing. We saw Nembhard come back. Maybe some guys are getting closer. I want to be optimistic who I'll get to see play for one game. Yeah. That is not a back-to-back, I don't think. Is it? James, coming up? No, it is not a back-to-back. So you should see, at the very least, Siakam and Nesmith, unlike you saw them last night, and then Nembhard. It is not a back-to-back. Can I see that okay? I can see the schedule way over there. It does not look like they don't have a back-to-back this week, do they?
You are right.
Man, that was brutal last night. You actually need a roster to figure out who's on the roster this year. Is it JJ at 239-1070 right now? Hello, JJ. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How you doing, man? Daymar.
Yes, sir.
I'm sitting in the back patio here, barbecuing some wings, Thought I'd give you a buzz.
I think that's a hell of a plan you got there. Hey, slap some of the Daisy brand on those wings and then thank me later, okay, pal?
Man, I might take you up on that next
There
bet.
you go.
Hey, real quick, I won't give you no heat, but my question to you is this. A lot of people forget that, and I actually watched it like everybody else watched it. Last year, this time when Daniel Jones played, he was being benched when he was in Germany. Different stadium, but he was benched. It's a mental game a little bit, how that goes and everything like that. You think that played into Daniel Jones getting kind of rushed a little bit. He doesn't play well with his back against the wall when the pressure's on him. But do you think that was kind of a bit of a mind thing right there?
I don't. I just think it's what you just said. He doesn't play well when the rush is on him like that. He's not. The pressure gets to him, and he's not adjusting and protecting the football. That's the problem that I have is the lack of football protection and coughing it up. And that's just something right now until we find out this offensive line protects better or they come up with some new things to keep guys off of him. Pittsburgh kind of developed that with guys you can count on. I mean, guys that are with Highsmith and Watt, significant rushers, and then Atlanta brought so many people yesterday. And, they didn't deal with that aspect well offensively whatsoever. So I think it has more to do with that than anything.
I agree with you right there. And secondly, as far as like the offensive line and everything like that, if they're scheming, you got Pittsburgh and you got Atlanta saying, okay, now we can go down the middle with the Colts and now we can rush the quarterback. I believe that our coaching staff will adjust. This is one of those games, in my opinion, that I think where you lost to Pittsburgh, now you got to retool a little bit and get your feet back going.
Hey, JJ, too, thank you for the call. It's a great time to have a bye week, especially with KC at the dump in Kansas City coming up after the bye week. JJ, thank you. Windshield Spreadability. Oh, you got it in a variety of flavors that you love. Meyer Locations, Gordon's Food Service, Neiman's Harvest Market. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you all for a great show. James, you too. Check out the podcast. Back with you tomorrow. Colts Roundtable is coming up next. Let's get back together tomorrow at 3.